Here are the top stories for today, October 6, 2020. President Rodrigo Duterte submits his first Bayanihan 2 report to Congress. 125,000 beep cards will be given to EDSA busway commuters for free. More than 1,000 telco tower permits are approved by the local government units. And a COVID-19 testing lab is launched for seafarers. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte submitted his first report to Congress in compliance with Republic Act No. 11494, or the Bayanihan to Recover as One Act. As contained in the report, it says there are already 10,673 nurses deployed in primary care facilities, 32 COVID referral hospitals, and 1,874 COVID-accepting hospital, among other DOH, public and private hospitals in the country. Likewise, the Department of Public Works and Highways, together with other agencies and local government units, continue to establish new and manage existing temporary quarantine facilities, treatment centers, and facilities for medical personnel. As for clinical trials, the country has 17 bilateral partners, and it has expressed its interest to participate in the World Health Organization Solidarity Trial for vaccines and the COVAX facility. An additional 9,557 contact tracers are hired to strengthen the contact tracing capacity nationwide. Through Bayanihan 2, President Duterte vowed to sustain and enhance efforts and strengthen the government's capabilities to implement programs and projects to reduce the adverse socio-economic impact of COVID-19.
Ito namang pera ng Bayanihan Act, I assure you that it has been wisely, it has been according to rules. At sinigurado ko yan at the start. Wala hong ano dyan, walang sindikato. Wala hong sabihin mo na may nakawan. And we will be careful with the next round of Bayanihan.
Malacanang clarifies that the suggestion of Vice President Leni Robredo to allow face-to-face classes in low-risk areas is already part of the national government's plan. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the country is heading towards resuming in-person classes in areas with zero COVID-19 cases within a month, and that Robredo should come up with new suggestions to help the administration.
Ayan po sinasabi ko, no? Wala pa po kaming naririnig na bagong suggestion galing kay VP Robredo. Kung nagbabasa lang si VP Leni ng balita, talagang kasama po yan sa plano. Na pwedeng magkaroon ng face-to-face sometime in January doon sa mga areas na madideklarang new normal. At papunta na po tayo doon sa punto na magkakaroon na ng deklarasyon ng mga new normal sa mga lugar na walang bagong kaso ng COVID-19 sa loob ng isang buwan.
Good news for those who are eager to go out and visit Boracay. The famous beach is currently virus-free, and local officials are making sure it is going to stay that way. Over 50 tourists have so far visited the beach island over the weekend, and the local government is hoping that this number would improve in the next few weeks and even months. Several hotels and accommodations are offering up to 75% discount for rooms so that visitors have enough pocket money to undergo the mandatory RT-PCR tests. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said he wanted to lure more visitors in the beach island to help tourism workers and communities whose livelihoods were affected by the pandemic.
Kaya kami naririto, inganyohin yung ating mga kababayan. No? Dahil kapag hindi po tayo bumisita sa Boracay, ang mga eroplano na walang laman, ikakancel ang mga flights. Pag nangyari po yun, magiging mas mahirap nang pumunta sa Boracay at mas marami mga negosyong malulugi at baka tuluyan na magsara. Panahon na po para tayo naman po ay magbakasyon matapos ng napakatagal na lockdown, lalong-lalo na sa Metro Manila. Nag-aantay na po ang pinakamagandang beach sa buong mundo, Boracay. Open for business.
Malacanang said the rapid antigen test will be used in Boracay and other areas if the pilot use in Baguio City would be a success. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said he already raised the suggestion to allow the pilot use of the rapid antigen test in Boracay, which is currently free from COVID-19. However, the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases will only allow it once Baguio City finishes its pilot use. Roque also allayed concerns that only a few tourists have started booking trips to Boracay due to the long waiting time needed after undergoing RT-PCR test. He said Boracay has put in place health and safety measures to ensure that visitors are safe from contracting COVID-19. Public transport may eventually reach up to 70% ridership as being weighed upon by the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases. While many workers have resorted to biking as an alternative mode of transport, ridership capacity in public transportation remains limited due to the 1-meter physical distancing policy implemented by the government. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III earlier appealed to the Department of Transportation to increase ridership capacity since limited capacity is taking a toll on workers.
Well, pinag-iisipan po talaga yan ng IATF dahil alam natin na ang tanging paraan para maiahon sa kahirapan ay ang pagbubukas ng ekonomiya na po pwede naman pong mangyari sa pamamagitan ng pag-ingat ng buhay para makapaghanap buhay. At sa tingin ko po, it's a matter of time, no? Bago natin maibalik sa 70% itong transportation natin. Ang sabi naman po ng mga doktor na pinangungunahan ng ating mga dating Department of Health Secretaries, Dr. Dairit at Dr. Cabral, basta naman po magsusuot ng face mask, face shield, walang usapan, walang kainan, may ventilation at sinasanitize sa mga public transportation, wala naman pong karagdagan na aberyan.
125,000 beep cards will be given away for free to EDSA busway commuters. AF Payments Incorporated, the provider of beep cards, heed the call of President Duterte to just give the beep cards for free, as paying for the cards on top of the fare is an additional burden for the commuters. President Duterte, in his talk to the people last night, expressed his dismay over the additional payments for store-to-value beep cards, as this becomes an additional burden for those struggling to survive amid the pandemic.
Kaya yung card na yan, card lang naman yan, ibigay na yan libre. Bakit pabayaran pa? We have been wasting so many billions to corruption. Tapos hindi maibigay. That's why I would like to talk to Secretary Tugadi next meeting, because I would raise with him the possibility of giving it free.
The Department of Transportation, who earlier suspended the mandatory use of beep cards because of the issue, welcomed the decision of AF Payments, saying the focus should be geared towards making the commuting experience a convenient and affordable one. AF Payments Incorporated is composed of conglomerates Ayala Group and First Pacific Group. Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo said the government still has to thoroughly assess the situation in select areas under modified enhanced community quarantine and general community quarantine before easing the restriction measures. Go appealed for patience and understanding from the public, as the Interagency Task Force is still keenly studying whether to shift to more lenient quarantine measures in key areas. He reiterated that health and safety of Filipinos must come first while pursuing efforts to jumpstart the economy. Go assured that the government will prioritize frontliners as well as the poor and vulnerable sectors once a safe and effective vaccine for COVID-19 become available. With the upcoming holiday season, Go said the government is working double time to ensure the safety of everyone, urging the public to religiously observe the health protocols set by the Department of Health or DOH. Still to come, more than 1,000 telco tower permits are approved by the DILG. And let us take a look on how a school in Catarman, Samar welcomes the opening of classes. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
sa matinding laban natin sa Coronavirus Disease 2019. Sugpuin din natin ang pagkalat ng fake news. Huwag magbahagi ng impormasyon na hindi tiyak ang pinagmulan. I-check mabuti ang source ng balita. Kumuha lamang ng impormasyon mula sa mga official channel ng Department of Health. Huwag magpadala sa maling balita, basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. More than 1,000 permits and clearances to build cell towers have been approved by local government units. DILG Secretary Eduardo Año said this is to address the public clamor for improved telecommunications services, especially during the pandemic where millions of people are working and studying from home.
The world and the country have gone digital. So kailangan po talaga natin itong pag-layout ng mga towers because sa klase natin puro online classes na. Doon po sa base na pinag-utos ninyo, mabilis na po yung pag-approve ng ating mga LGUs sa mga applications for permit and clearances. Last week po nung nag-usap tayo, 574 po yung na-approve. Tumaas po ito, naging 1,171 this week. So, ibig sabihin po, doble po. Ang natira na lang po ay 428 applications. Puro bago na po ito. Automatic po, pag ma-comply nila ang permit, approved na po. And this will go on since last month up to the next 3 years. So, I don't think may reason pa po yung ating mga telcos na sabihin nahihirapan sila. Meron na po talagang provision sa batas para makapag-layout sila ng mga towers at magamit natin.
The Commission on Higher Education, or CHED, hailed the Laguna State Polytechnic University, or LSPU, as it launched its mobile e-learning laboratory buses. CHED Chairman J. Prospero de Vera III led the inspection of the mobile e-learning laboratory buses at the LSPU Siniloan campus over the weekend. The buses are equipped with computers and internet connection and can accommodate 15 students each. They will be rotated in municipalities where there are LSPU students without gadgets and internet connection due to financial difficulties. LSPU also adopted flexible learning options such as asynchronous systems where students can access and use online materials at their time. De Vera lauded the efforts of state universities and colleges to find innovative ways of providing flexible learning options for hard-to-reach students all over the country. The Department of Education in Northern Samar came up with a measure to address the concerns of parents who have limited capacity in teaching their children. Sol Alarcon has the story.
For the first time, only the school officials and teachers of the Generoso R. Fragiliana Memorial School, Catarman 2 District Northern Samar, attended a flag-raising ceremony for the opening of school year 2020-2021. Officials of the Catarman 2 District Northern Samar DepEd Division also attended the activity. After the flag-raising ceremony, teachers began the distribution of modules. Every parent has a schedule to get the modules in school.
Sa module, ang concern namin is outside. The parents, kasi not all parents knows given the opportunity to read and write. So that's our concern.
Thus, DepEd has created a program for parents who do not know how to read and write.
We inform our teachers to, as instructed by our DS, to provide technical assistance for those parents who do not have the capacity to teach their children.
For the PNA Newsroom, Sol Alarcon, Philippine Information Agency, Region 8.
In our business news, rapid adoption of digital technologies is seen to help the Philippines recover from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. In a report by the World Bank and the National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, the use of technologies such as e-commerce, telemedicine, and online education has helped Filipinos cope with social distancing measures, ensure business continuity, and deliver public services during the pandemic. It, however, said the Philippines still lags behind its regional neighbors in digital adoption, noting the gap between those with and without internet access and inadequacies in digital infrastructure. The report, meanwhile, cited government efforts to speed up the rollout of mobile network infrastructure through a common tower policy. World Bank economist Kevin Chua said increasing digital adoption is critical not only to help the Philippines adapt to the post-COVID-19 world, but also to achieve its vision of becoming a society free of poverty by the year 2040. The insurance industry is hopeful to recover to pre-COVID level activity by 2022. Insurance Commissioner Dennis Funa expressed optimism for the insurance industry, saying the Philippines' economy fundamentals remain strong. Even with the expected contraction of domestic growth this year because of the pandemic, Funa said the economy is projected to grow between 5 to 6% next year, primarily due to resiliency of the economy. He said possible availability of a COVID-19 vaccine is also a plus. Relatively, Funa said they have yet to receive reports for the second quarter performance of industry players due to limitations brought by the community quarantine. He, however, said that the second quarter reports will be impacted by declines in investments and declining sales. Up next, a COVID-19 testing lab is launched for seafarers. And we will take a look at the upcoming fight of WBO minimum weight champion Victorio and the undefeated Robert Ingo Paradero. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
President Rodrigo Duterte has extended well wishes to U.S. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania after they tested positive for COVID-19 last Friday. In a press briefing from Boracay, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque made this remark after the White House announced on Friday that Trump will be hospitalized at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. Last April, Duterte and Trump spoke over the phone to discuss bilateral cooperation against COVID-19. Trump's positive COVID-19 diagnosis makes him one of the growing number of world leaders and high-profile politicians to have contracted the virus. Hope Hicks, one of Trump's closest advisors, had also tested positive. Biden, who tested negative for the virus on Friday, also sent prayers for the health and safety of the Trumps. In our foreign news, Japan and South Korea will resume business trips between the two countries, a measure the two countries halted due to the coronavirus pandemic. The date of the resumption is expected to be announced this week. Japanese media reports that entry of expatriates and other long-term residents, as well as travelers on short-term business trips, will be initially allowed in both countries provided they have tested negative for the virus. On September 24, Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga and South Korean President Moon Jae-in agreed to speed up negotiations for an early agreement on resumed business trips. Japan imposed strict restrictions in February after a coronavirus outbreak in the country and banned the entry of foreign nationals. More than 2,500 newly hired contact tracers undergo orientation conducted by the DILG Caraga. Venus Garcia has a story.
Also a possibility that we can afford with InPerson.
To intensify the contact tracing efforts in the Caraga region, more than 2,500 newly hired contact tracers have attended the simultaneous orientation conducted by the DILG Caraga in Butuan City and other provinces.
If we have a large number of contact tracers, medyo paspasad nato ma-check, no? Paspas nato ma-trace ang mga close contacts.
Contact tracers will immediately notify the close contacts for isolation or quarantine protocol.
Yeah, they will start immediately, no? We will sign the contract of service for these contact tracers.
Given the extent of exposure and risk among contact tracers, Director Famasyon assured the provision of personal protective equipment. Contact tracers will be conducting interviews, profiling, and performing initial public health risk assessment of COVID-19 cases and their close contacts.
Ito na rin yung magiging way ko ng giving service sa government natin, mapadali yung paghahanap ng mga tao na contact sa mga positive na mga patients.
Sa pandemic, kailangan din ng magtulungan para masugpo or ma-prevent po yung COVID-19.
Director Famasyon also reminded the residents to strictly practice the minimum health standard and to remain in their residences at all times, except when buying essentials and doing vital transactions. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Venus Garcia of the Philippine Information Agency, Caraga.
The Philippine Ports Authority, or PPA, has officially launched the South Harbor Molecular Laboratory, an RT-PCR testing laboratory for COVID-19 in Port Area, Manila. The exclusive facility has a daily testing capacity of about 2,000 and a 24 to 48-hour turnaround time for results. The new laboratory was established mainly to cater to the testing requirements of crew change hubs controlled by the PPA, namely the Port of Manila, Port Capinpin in Orion, Bataan, and Port of Batangas. The facility will ease the processing of boarding and disembarking seafarers and ensure that the country does not send off those infected with the virus. The one-stop shop would also ensure that disembarking seafarers are able to go home with ease and free of possible infection. The facility was established as part of the country's commitment to be the crew change capital of the world. The Department of Science and Technology, or DOST, invites everyone to avail of free courses via the online course provider Coursera. At least 35,000 Filipinos can still enroll in courses via Coursera for free until October 30. Coursera has allotted 50,000 slots for Filipino enrollees. Individuals who get to avail of the scholarship can save at least 25,000 to 30,000 pesos. Coursera offers about 3,800 certificate courses from its university and industry partners, such as the Duke University and Johns Hopkins. Enrollees can learn various fields such as social sciences, information technology, data science, engineering, personal development, among many others. Interested parties may visit the DOST Caraga's website for details. In sports, former World Boxing Organization, or WBO, minimum weight champion Victorio Vicious Saludar of Polomoloc, South Cotabato will fight undefeated Robert Ingo Paradero of Malaybalay City. The 12-round title fight will be held on December 5 at the Flash Ballroom of the Ilorde Sports Center in Sucat, Parañaque City. The 29-year-old Saludar boasts of a record of 20 wins, 11 by way of knockout, and 4 losses. Saludar lost his title to Wilfredo Mendez of Puerto Rico by a unanimous decision on August 24. Paradero, who holds 18 win with 12 by way of knockout, stopped Jonathan Almacen of Muntinlupa in the first round on April 5 in Malaybalay. Here's another look at today's biggest stories. President Rodrigo Duterte submits his first Bayanihan 2 report to Congress. 125,000 beep cards will be given to EDSA busway commuters for free. More than 1,000 telco tower permits are approved by the local government units. And a COVID-19 testing lab is launched for seafarers. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check more news content, visit our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day and stay safe, everyone.